is Jen Reynolds. I'm the creator and founder of FIbromyalgia.com. And today I decided to do a video, and it's going to be part of the healing journey that I have been on and that many other people are in the process of. And so will be a healing video if this is something that triggers you or doesn't resonate with you. If you believe that you are going to be sick for the rest of your life and you don't want to hear about any of the healing process, I do suggest that you turn off the video at this time, because I don't mean to do that. I just like to share my experience and what I have been through so that it may help others on their journey. So I wanted to talk about fibromyalgia being basically your body's way of screaming out, I need help. So when we get diagnosed with fibromyalgia, we're in tons of pain, we're exhausted, all of our muscles hurt, even our joints hurt at sometimes. We have digestive problems, we have anxiety and depression, and these are all symptoms that come together as a syndrome. That's why they call it fibromyalgia syndrome. It was recently categorized as a disease. Even though it was categorized as a disease really is something that breaks down the body and causes deterioration of the body, such as like lupus or arthritis will deteriorate your bones, or lupus will attack your organs. That's more of like a disease than fibromyalgia is, because fibromyalgia is a bunch of symptoms that are thrown together and they make a diagnosis, and there's no way to really diagnose fibromyalgia. What they end up doing is they do a process of elimination and they put all your symptoms together, and then they eventually give you a diagnosis of fibromyalgia. So when I talk about it as a syndrome, it doesn't make it any less than a disease. It doesn't make it any less painful, or your struggles are not any more or any less than somebody that has a disease. It's terribly painful. I suffered from fibromyalgia for many, many years, over 20 years. I was diagnosed at 18, and just until 2 years ago, when I turned 40 years old, I had fibromyalgia and lupus, and I've been symptom-free for 2 years. And that's why I've been wanting to share my journey with you guys, so that possibly that you can get on the process to healing your body as well. Or I'm in remission. It doesn't matter which one it is. Whatever it is, I'm doing better, and I want everybody to experience that as I have. So our bodies are crying out when we get sick like this. Basically, we have this amazing body. This body tells us when something's wrong. If something's bothering us, either emotionally, spiritually, or we're lacking nutrition physically, our body is eventually going to cry out. It's going to say, I need help. And the way that our body usually expresses this is through physical pain. So if you have any issues that you need to deal with, I don't even like calling it issues, because, well, I guess it is an issue. If you have anything that you haven't dealt with in your past, such as any trauma, any abuse, if you are holding on to something from your past and you have not been able to forgive somebody, this does cause a block in your energy body. And when you get blocks in your energy body, you actually have physical pain from this. It can develop as fibromyalgia, as lupus, as cancer, as any physical illness. So we have to make sure that we deal with any emotional issues or stuck energy that needs to be released from our energy body. So this is why you see a lot of people that have been through traumatic situations such as abuse, or they have been to a war and they've seen a lot of devastation, or they've had to actually physically kill somebody. They have stuff like post-traumatic stress disorder, develop physical symptoms. And it's an energy block in your emotional body. The first thing that they do when you go to the doctor, when you have any type of emotional distress, is they usually put you on medication and send you to a therapist. I think therapy is great if they're dealing with the underlying issue, but covering up symptoms is not that great, because when you're put on these medications, it does dull, or it does mask the emotional pain, and without bringing that emotional pain to the surface and without it being dealt with, It's just going to stay within your body and create actual real physical pain. So I'm not suggesting anybody go off their medications. If you decide to do something like that, make sure you talk to your doctor or your medical profession, if that's a psychiatrist, psychologist, or naturopath, or any type of doctor. You always talk to your doctor before you go off medications. I am not a medical professional. I'm just expressing what I've experienced and what other people have experienced that have helped them heal their body. So I will never talk about anything that I have not personally experienced or somebody that I know very, very personally that is experienced. I don't just grab this out of the air or read something on the internet and express that to you guys. Another thing that the body has a very hard time with people, especially with people with fibromyalgia and chronic illness, is certain types of foods. So if you're eating things that are unnatural, like processed foods, fast foods, a lot of sugar, gluten is a big one with people with fibromyalgia and lupus. These things, they need to be taken out of your diet. Now, you can say, I'm sick, I'm going to eat whatever I want. That's the one pleasure that I have. If you don't change your diet, you're not going to get better, and you're just going to make yourself feel worse and worse. I mean, it's something you can ignore for a while, but as time goes on, you're going to realize that you're just feeling worse and worse. And eating processed foods such as packaged foods or fast foods from fast food restaurants that have chemicals in them, it's very upsetting to the body. And there's many people that do have gluten or wheat intolerances. I personally have a dairy intolerance. If I eat dairy, I get pain again. So there's a diet called the elimination diet, and you can get a book on it. I think it's on Amazon. I think it's called the Virgin Diet or something like that. I don't know. I got an elimination diet. I ended up not getting the Virgin Diet book, but that's one of them. You can go on there and you can start the process of eliminating all the foods that can cause allergies or sensitivities within the body and start to see what foods you can and cannot eat. And this is going to be very unique for each person. But the one thing I do know for sure, the more natural you go, the better you're going to feel. So what I call a primal diet, the diet that you would eat before grocery stores came into existence. So real whole foods that are not packaged and processed are best for you. What's another thing that I wanted to talk about? We talked about the emotions and food. Oh, how you think. Now, when I first started Fibro TV, I was really into the positive thinking method. I don't know, the way of thinking, which positive thinking is great. I think that being happy and being positive is a great thing. But if you're faking being positive and not dealing with your other emotions, you're not going to be a balanced person. This does not mean that you go around being happy all the time or you go around being depressed and miserable all the time. You need to find a healthy balance. As things come up, you deal with those emotions and you process those emotions. You do not mask them. Do not mask emotions. If you're having a bad day, have that bad day or deal with that bad moment. I'm not really into bad days. I think that if we really deal with our emotions, we don't have bad days anymore. If we're really a balanced individual. So say for instance, I can give you an example today. Do you want to hear my day? This is how my day was. I woke up, grabbed my phone to check my Facebook. As soon as I woke up, dropped my phone on the ground, cracked my screen. $200 to replace the screen for my phone. I says, okay, you know what? The phone still works. I don't have to replace it right now. I didn't get all in my emotional body and get all upset. I still have a phone that works. And, I'm grateful that I have a phone that works. And I will deal with it when I get the money to deal with it. Another thing that happened today is I dropped one of my favorite necklaces, which is an amethyst, a purple amethyst stone. And I cracked it. And this all happened within 2 hours. Now, I could have taken those two situations and made my entire day bad. Or I could have thought logically and thought, well, you know what? Anything materialistic can be replaced. That's not what's important. So instead of, being miserable for the rest of the day because those two what I considered bad things at the time happened, I looked at it from a higher perspective. One thing I know is I need to get a new cell phone soon. my phone's been acting up. So maybe this is just the universe or God's way of telling me, it's probably time for you to get a new phone. So, and then the necklace, maybe I need to stop focusing so much on material things and focus on other things that I have in life. There's always something that you can look at a higher perspective and maybe analyze why things happen instead of just thinking that everything's happening to you. Sometimes things are happening for you for a better situation to happen or for a greater purpose. And if you can have that attitude, it helps. Another thing is, if you think that you're going to be sick for the rest of your life and that you're never going to get better, you are basically telling every cell in your body that you're never going to heal and that you're sick. You're telling every day that you tell yourself that I'm never going to be better, I have this condition for the rest of my life, you're basically programming the cells in your body to believe that to be true. And a lot of people don't believe that what you think actually comes into manifestation, but it's the natural law of attraction, and it's one of the natural laws that are out there. So you don't have to believe it for it to really happen. So if you really got to start thinking, I'm healthy, I am strong, I am healing my body. Think in those terms instead of I'm sick, I'm miserable, my life sucks. Every time you think that way, you're lowering your immune system. There's actually research on this now. Maybe I'll put a link underneath this video about how your thoughts actually control your immune system. So even though we can't just be positive and masking all of our feelings, and we can't always be negative, we need to have kind of that middle balanced ground. Try not to get stuck on all the negative emotions. Try to think of things from a higher perspective. Even my illness, now that I look back on it, as sick as I was, as miserable as I was bedridden for a while. My kidneys were shutting down with lupus at one point. All those things happened to me for a higher purpose. And I really, truly believe my higher purpose was to help people like you, to help people heal. And in general, it just gave me a better outlook on life, because before I got sick, it was all about me. And I didn't see anybody else's perspective. I wasn't a very compassionate, empathetic person, even though I've always been an empath and I felt people's emotions. I wasn't like if somebody like in a third world country was was starving to death, just like all of us on this planet, I kind of got like immune to those commercials, Now I have more empathy for everybody. I have empathy for my neighbors more, but it's not an empathy that takes over my life. It's kind of like a detached empathy or compassion. It lets me put myself in other people's shoes more than I could in the past, if that makes sense. So chronic illness is not always a bad thing. Sometimes it wakes us up to what really matters in our life. We pick up other things that we like to do, hobbies, and we pick up new talents. And, because of that, we have to have adversity. We have to overcome like our struggles. So even though chronic illness is not fun, it is something I truly, truly believe that can be overcome. And I've done it. And if you met anybody in my life that knew me in my past 10 years ago, I was 220 pounds. I had type 2 diabetes. I had a heart condition, high blood pressure, chronic anxiety disorder. I mean, I was popping Xanax like they were cotton candy. I was popping Xanax like they were candy. Depression, fibromyalgia, lupus, IBS. I mean, the list goes on and on. I just had issue after issue. I was on 12 medications. And if you see me now, you could see that I am more vibrant. I've lost weight, and that was just a natural process after getting off all the fast food and the medications and everything, because medications make you gain weight too. I'm a happier person. I'm a productive person. I love being of service to others and helping others get to this point as well. So I hope this video helps you all, and if you have any questions or comments, just go ahead and comment underneath the video, and I hope everybody has a great day, and please remember, healing is a process, not an event. It's not something that you get on a diet or you take a supplement and the next day you feel better. I mean, my healing journey took 8 years. It was not an overnight thing. But I'm hoping that with the mistakes that I made, I can express those mistakes to you, and the things that I have learned, I can express those things to you and make your journey more smooth. All right, everyone, have a great day. Bye.